I'm Liam, 31 years old, and if my life's taught me one thing about family, it's that they're your biggest fans, until your success makes them squirm. See, I never followed the usual path. While my cousins were all off at fancy universities, studying to become lawyers and doctors and anything that get them a shiny LinkedIn profile and make their parents brag, I was stuck in my old bedroom, building an online business from scratch. It started with custom phone cases, then some t-shirts, and then boom, it just exploded. While they were sending out resumes and hoping for internships, I was dealing with taxes for my own company and managing hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of stuff. But to my extended family, I was still between jobs. That's how my mom put it. That's how she'd introduce me at weddings and family get-togethers. This is Liam. He's, figuring things out. Like my business wasn't a real thing until some guy in a suit told them it was. The final straw was my cousin Mallory's graduation party. She was 23, fresh out of some big-name university with a degree in international relations, and the absolute golden child of the family. You know the type. Class president, speaks like 3 languages, volunteers at shelters, and somehow looks like a Disney princess in every single picture. Honestly, growing up, I never really had a problem with her. We were polite. Not close, but not enemies either. But Mallory always had this vibe, like she expected everyone to clap after she said anything. My aunt and uncle, Mallory's parents, were always like that. Every tiny thing she did was a huge deal: a party, a fancy framed certificate, a gazillion texts, and a Facebook album with some ridiculously over-the-top title like Mallory's Big Moment. So when I got the invite to her graduation bash, I knew exactly what to expect. A fancy, catered party at their suburban house, all string lights, bubbly, and a ridiculously expensive tent. But what I didn't see coming was the job they had lined up for me. I got there early to avoid the usual craziness, and bam, Aunt Cara, Mallory's mom, was already there waving a bright yellow vest at me like I was reporting for duty. Perfect. "Liam," she said, "we really need your help with parking. Cars are backed up for blocks." No greeting, no thanks for coming. Just a vest, a walkie-talkie, and a quick pat on the back. It was like I was some college kid working a weekend valet gig. I just stared at her. "I'm not working the party, Cara. I'm here to celebrate," I told her. She laughed like I was telling a joke. "Just an hour or two," she said. "You're good with organizing things, right? Your whole online thing." I should have walked. I should have handed her that vest back and said, "No way." But I don't know, maybe that stupid family loyalty thing got the better of me and I put it on. I spent the first hour and a half of that party directing SUVs into patches of grass and helping old people get their walkers across bumpy bits of ground. No one took over for me. Nobody even offered me a drink. I finally crashed at a folding table in the back, all gross and dusty, and the party was already going strong. A huge banner hung across the yard, all sparkly gold letters. "Congrats, Mallory!" A shiny red bow was tied around the gate, and it looked like a brand new Kia Soul was the big gift. Everyone was gathered around the cake, chatting and eating. Mom gave me a half-hearted wave. She was right up front, like she'd actually raised Mallory. I found my name on a little paper place card tucked away near the buffet, miles from the main action. Mallory was just radiant. Her white dress shimmered, and she was moving around like she was running for president or something. Then she grabbed a microphone, tapped it dramatically, and giggled. "I just want to thank everyone for coming," she said, raising her champagne glass. "It means so much to be here with people who appreciate hard work and real education, especially when it's so easy to get sidetracked by online stuff these days." She looked right at me. The pause was totally on purpose, and her words were sharp. And everyone laughed, actually laughed. My uncle snorted. My cousin Jason choked on his drink. Even my mom gave me a little tight smile, like she was trying not to laugh but couldn't help it. I could feel the blood rushing to my face. I just stared at the little beads of water running down my full drink, trying so hard not to lose it. Not yet, anyway. Mallory just kept going, totally clueless. Or maybe she knew exactly what she was doing. "Some of us," she went on, all smug, "spent 4 years getting a degree that actually, matters. Sorry, not sorry," she added, and a bunch of people laughed along with her. She clinked glasses with some of the guests around her and handed the microphone back like some dramatic scene from a TV show. My mom glanced at me, gave a small shrug, and mouthed, "She didn't mean anything by it." Honestly, the car didn't bother me. I didn't care about the big banner or her speech, or even that I was practically invisible in every single picture, stuck in the background by the bushes like I was waiting tables. It was the years of being brushed aside, the little smirks whenever I tried to talk about my job, the way my own mom would completely ignore what I was saying to go on and on about Mallory's fancy professors. But right then, sitting there with dusty shoes and a drink I hadn't touched. Something changed in me. I waited until the last toast was over, until everyone stopped clapping and started heading towards the dance floor where some pop songs were playing on a speaker. I stood up, brushed myself off, and walked over to the main table where Mallory and her friends were still posing for pictures next to the car, basking in all the attention. "Hey, Mallory," I said casually, loud enough so people nearby could hear. She stopped laughing mid-sentence, obviously surprised I'd actually said something. "Yeah," she asked. She looked at me all squinty-eyed. I raised my glass, gave her a little smile. "Congrats," I said. "It must feel amazing getting this far with your degree and having your family so supportive." I took a big gulp of my drink. "My little online thing just made over $1 million too this year." I paused, then added, "Nice Kia, though." Dead silence. Mallory's smile just kinda froze. A fork clattered to the floor behind her. My uncle's jaw dropped. My mom blinked twice like she was trying to figure out what I just said. I didn't wait around for them to react. I just nodded, spun on my heel, and headed for the exit. The last thing I heard was somebody whispering, "Wait, what'd he say?" No way was I sticking around for that. Walking down that gravel driveway to my car, I felt their stares burning into my back like a bunch of heat lamps. But I didn't look back. Didn't need to. I'd done my thing. I'd said what I had to, and I knew that little bomb I'd dropped was gonna spread through the party like wildfire. Thing is, I hadn't planned on saying anything at all. Honestly. But years of being the quiet one, the one who always got the leftovers, the one always doing favors for everyone, it all built up. And then Mallory's little snide remark, that was it. I got in my car and drove off. Nobody chased me. Not yet, anyway. When I finally pulled up to my house, a nice 3-bedroom I'd bought last year, my phone was already blowing up. The first ones were texts. My mom's was the worst. "Liam, you mortified the whole family." Then another right after. "We'll chat later, please just don't make this a big thing." Aunt Cara chimed in too. "Did you really have to do that? Mallory busted her butt for that degree. You're not the only one with stuff going on." I didn't answer any of them. I killed the phone, chucked it on the counter, and just let the quiet of my place settle over me. That night I actually slept really well, better than I had in ages. The whole thing kept hitting me in waves for the next few days. On Monday, I checked my business email and saw 3 new interview requests. Seems like someone at Mallory's party had looked up my company and was blown away by what we'd built. Built, not stumbled into, not some silly online thing. That word, built, actually meant something to me. A month ago, I might have had my assistant handle it, but this time I took the calls myself. I wanted people to hear my story. Tuesday evening, my mom showed up at my door, no text, just a doorbell. She was carrying a Tupperware container like it was still 2006 and I was a college kid who needed lasagna and a pep talk. I opened the door slowly. "Hey," she said, real quiet. "I brought dinner." I stepped aside and let her in. She just stood there inside the doorway, looking around my living room like she'd never seen it before. All the fancy furniture, the art, the fancy lights, it all shouted success, a language I never learned to speak. Finally, she says, "You've really done well for yourself." "Yeah," I said, "I guess I have." She put the food container on the counter and let out a big sigh. "You embarrassed Mallory and the whole family," she said. "She's heartbroken." I crossed my arms, leaning against the kitchen island. "Mom," I said, "she put me on blast in public. I didn't start it, I just finished it." $1.2 million, she said like it was some kind of awful sin, like saying it out loud would attract the tax man. "It's the truth," I replied. She paused, her jaw clenched tight. "Why didn't you ever tell me?" I chuckled, not meanly. "I did, Mom, you just didn't want to hear it. You like the idea of me needing help, the idea of me fitting into your story, Liam, the college dropout, the guy who was still figuring things out. You could feel sorry for me, but I've been over that for years." She sat down hard, like my words had taken the air out of her lungs. "I wasn't trying to feel sorry for you," she whispered. "No," I asked. "Then why was it always Mallory, the driven one, and me, just the kid stuck making stickers in his room?" She didn't have an answer for that. Instead, she mumbled, "Mallory's looking for a job, you know. Nothing's working out yet." I gave a tight smile. "So that fancy college degree didn't open every door, huh?" That got me a glare. "Don't be mean," she said. "I'm not," I said. "I'm just exhausted." I pretended I didn't deserve my spot in this family, you know? She got up, brushing off her shirt like there was something there. She mumbled something about wanting to apologize. "Yeah, right," I thought. She said she'd gone too far. I didn't answer. I didn't believe her, not one bit. Later that night, I finally checked my phone, hadn't looked at it since Saturday. Mallory had texted. It said, "Hey, about the party, I shouldn't have said that. It was awful. Can we talk?" I just stared at it for ages. It wasn't that I didn't know what to do. It was that everything had changed and everyone suddenly knew it. For years, they thought I was this nobody, barely getting by. They had no clue I'd built a whole business behind their backs. But things really went sideways the next weekend. Aunt Cara called out of the blue. No warning, just a voicemail. "Liam, I need to talk. We're having some money problems," she said. "Your uncle's hours got cut and Mallory's car payment is killing us. I know things were tense, but we're family, right?" That's when it hit me. It wasn't just embarrassment. They wanted something from me. I listened to that voicemail twice. It wasn't that I needed to hear it again, but I couldn't believe how fast things flipped. A few days before, I was the family laughingstock, the guy directing cars into ditches. Now, I was their lifeline. I totally ignored Aunt Cara's call. Didn't even bother texting back. I just let it hang, let her stew in the uncertainty. It was a familiar dance, that whole thing. First the teasing, then the radio silence. Then, boom, all sweetness and light. We're family, the second they want something. And trust me, this was a major ask, a seriously expensive one. I plopped down at the kitchen table, fired up my laptop, and checked Mallory's Instagram. She'd posted a whole bunch of pictures from her graduation party, the banner, the speeches, the car keys with a caption about new beginnings and real work. Yeah, right. Real work. That phrase again. I looked through all the comments. Tons of likes from family, friends, old school buddies. A few even tagged her, gushing about how inspiring she was. One person even said, "Can't wait to work with you at the embassy." That made me chuckle. I knew for sure Mallory hadn't gotten a single job offer yet. Not because she told me, but because Mom accidentally spilled the beans while she was trying to defend Mallory in the kitchen. The same girl who made fun of online degrees and mocked my hobbies. 3 months after graduation and she's totally unemployed and freaking out. Still, I wasn't planning on doing anything. I wasn't trying to get revenge or anything. Not yet, anyway. Then Uncle Liam called. "Hey," he said. "Just wanted to smooth things over. You know we love you, right? Always have. That whole party thing, just some harmless ribbing." Mallory's got a wicked sense of humor, just like her dad. He kind of chuckled nervously. "So about that lease Cara mentioned, she left a message. We're a little strapped this month, you know? It would be a huge help if you could cover the first couple of payments. Just to tide us over until Mallory gets settled. You did say business was booming, right?" I just sat there, frozen, holding my phone like it was about to explode. Their nerve was unbelievable, seriously. They didn't even mention all the times I quietly paid for birthday presents, holiday meals, or whatever family crisis popped up. They never even hinted at how awful Mallory's comment was. It wasn't a joke, it wasn't teasing, it wasn't playful. It was just plain cruel. No apology, nothing. Just more of their usual sense of entitlement. That's when I pulled up my spreadsheet. I've kept it for years, not like obsessively, but I've been keeping track. Every single dollar I've ever lent or spent on this family. Like that $300 I gave Jason for textbooks he never repaid. Or the $2,000 I gave Cara and her husband when their roof sprung a leak a couple winters back. Every single favor I got guilt-tripped into, every bill I paid to keep the peace. The total, $42,860. $42,860, and that's not even counting interest, or the emotional toll, or how they made me feel like their personal ATM, like I had zero accomplishments of my own. I just stared at that number for a long time, so I took a huge breath and started typing out a message to Mallory. "Hey, got your text. Been giving it some thought. Thanks for the apology, but I've been thinking maybe it's time to get real. For everyone. You're right, by the way. You did put in the effort. I just don't think that excuses making fun of other people's wins, especially when you don't really get it. But honestly, I'm realizing I've been pouring money and feelings into this family for years, and all I've gotten back is being brushed off. I'm not mad, but I'm done being the invisible cash machine. I wish you the best with finding a job, seriously, but I won't be paying for Dakar or anything else anymore." I read it over twice. No nastiness, no feeling smug, just a clear boundary. Then I sent a similar version to my uncle and aunt and a little more gently to my mom. She called right away. "Liam, hold on, can we talk about this?" "Nope," I cut her off. "It's pretty clear." "I can, and I just did." There was a silence on her end. For the first time, she didn't have anything prepared, she didn't know what to say. "Did you really make over $1 million last year?" "Yep. How? You never asked." Another long pause. "What do you want us to do?" she finally asked, her voice soft, and that question just hung there. Because that was it, right? I didn't want them to do anything. I just wanted them to stop expecting me to do everything. I hung up without saying another word. It wasn't out of anger, you know? It was just, for once, I didn't have to put on a show. The act was over, the charade was done, and the family clown finally spoke his mind. Mallory didn't text back for 2 whole days. I figured she was either fuming, trying to come up with some fake apology, or just too ashamed to even say hello. To be honest, I didn't care one bit. I'd got it all off my chest, finally. All that pressure I'd carried around for years, the guilt, the feeling like I had to do things, always feeling seen but never really seen it, was gone. For the first time in ages, I felt free. Then day 3, boom, a calendar invite. Coffee with Mallory Summers, Saturday, 10 a.m., Cafe Alder downtown. I just stared at it for a minute, thinking about saying no, but a little part of me was curious, I guess, so I said yes. Not because I expected some big apology, but because I wanted to look her in the eye and see what was really there behind all that perfect, snooty stuff. Saturday came all gray and rainy. Seemed about right, I thought. I got there 10 minutes early and ordered a black coffee. Simple, nothing fancy. She showed up 5 minutes late in a cream blazer, heels the works. Even in the pouring rain, she looked like she was expecting the paparazzi to show up. "Liam," she said, a little smile playing on her lips, sliding into the chair. "Thanks for coming. I didn't think you would." "Me neither," I said, keeping my voice even. We were just sitting there, quiet for a minute. She was swirling her latte, like really into it. "I saw your message," she finally said. "Read it twice." "All right. And you're right." I kinda raised an eyebrow. "I was a total jerk," she went on, "not just at the party. For years I talked trash about your stuff 'cause I didn't get it. And if I'm being real, I was jealous." That totally threw me. "Jealous," I repeated. "Yeah," she admitted, avoiding my eyes. "You found your passion, you made it happen. And here I am with this fancy degree, no job offers, and a car my parents can barely swing. That crack I made at the party, it wasn't really about you. It was me trying to feel better about myself." I let her words sink in. I didn't jump to forgive her. I wasn't even sure I wanted to. "I appreciate you saying that," I said, slow and careful. "But it doesn't erase all those years of being put down, of feeling like I wasn't good enough, even by my own mom." "I know," she mumbled. "That's on me and them, all of us." I just nodded, watching the rain streak down the glass. "So why did you really want to see me, Mallory?" She bit her lip. "Not for money, I swear." "Good, because that's not happening." She quickly nodded. "I know I didn't come for help, I wanted to own up to it." Publicly, I looked at her, confused. Publicly? That's when she reached in her purse and pulled out her phone. She opened her Instagram, turned it towards me, and started recording a story. "Hey everyone," she started, flashing a nervous smile at the phone. "This is kind of awkward, I'm not going to lie, but I gotta say something." I just sat there, completely still, as she kept recording. "At my graduation party last week, I said something really awful about online businesses and people who don't work the regular 9 to 5. It was mean, it was nasty, and honestly, it was just plain wrong. My cousin Liam is one of the most hardworking, successful people I know. He built his business from nothing, no help from anyone, and I basically made fun of him in front of everyone. That was all me, and I'm sorry. Not just to him, but to anyone I might have made feel bad with that kind of talk. Real success isn't about a fancy degree, it's about hard work. And Liam, if you're seeing this, thanks for calling me out. I needed it, big time." She hit stop, posted the video right away, and just tucked her phone back in her purse. I blinked. That was definitely not what I was expecting. She just shrugged. "I deserve to be embarrassed. You were for years. It's only fair, right?" For the first time in ages, I didn't see Mallory the perfect one, but just a young woman trying to break free from the image her family had created, and maybe the one she'd created for herself, too. "You're lucky I'm not a petty person," I said, and I actually smiled a little. She grinned. "Don't push it," she warned. We talked for another hour, not about money or careers or all the family drama. Just about life and travel and books and all the little things we'd never shared because we were always too busy fighting or avoiding each other. As we were getting ready to go, she embraced me. Not some quick, meaningless hug, but a genuine one, a silent one, the kind that signals I understand now. A week later, my mom phoned. "Did you see the video?" she asked, sounding a little unsure. I had. She hadn't even mentioned she was putting it online. She didn't have to. "I'm proud of you," she said, her voice filled with something that sounded a lot like regret. "And I'm sorry for how I dismissed your work, for not listening, for not asking." I didn't rub it in. I didn't say, "I told you so." Finally, I just said, "Thanks." The next family gathering was a month later. It was a 4th of July cookout at Uncle Rob's. I showed up in my usual jeans and polo, but this time nobody tried to give me a handyman task. Instead, Mallory came over, gave me a plate piled high with food, and said, "You're sitting with me." And I did. There was no announcement, no fanfare, no special toast. Just laughter, stories, and a strange sense of everything finally being right that I hadn't felt in ages. When someone asked what I did for a living, Mallory piped up. "He runs a huge online brand making millions. It's actually crazy. You should see his workspace." The silence that followed was amazing. No sneering, no condescending smiles, just impressed nods and follow-up questions. I answered a few, smiled politely, and kept the rest to myself because now they were actually interested. And for once, I didn't need their validation. The Kia got returned eventually. Mallory got a job at a non-profit doing work she truly cared about, not something her parents wanted. Aunt Cara and Uncle Rob, they just stopped hitting me up for cash. Mom still doesn't totally get what I'm up to, but she's always going on about how great I am, like I practically built the World Wide Web. I still have that spreadsheet, though. It's not because I'm still angry, but because it helps me remember where I started and what I don't have to deal with anymore. People say success is the ultimate payback. I think being clear is better, and quiet, because honestly, the silence is the best part.